Hi, this discussion is about Teams or WhatsApp. What should a company prefer? My name is Siggy and with me today is...
Yeah, hi, I'm Tom.
Yeah. So Tom, what's your gut feeling? What do you think? I guess your company or your colleagues or your customers also use WhatsApp and Teams.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, everybody is using WhatsApp somewhere in their business, and anybody who says they're not is probably not admitting the truth about WhatsApp being in their business.
Yeah, well, especially in Europe. In the US, I heard it's a different story, but in Europe and in certain areas of the world, their WhatsApp is 100%.
That's true, actually. It surprises me. My US counterparts, like sometimes they don't use WhatsApp even in their personal lives, and that confuses me.
Yeah.
It's so prevalent in Europe.
Well, they use Facebook Messenger, I heard.
Yeah,
That's the number one in the US.
Some other consumer technology, not, yeah.
Yeah, well, but WhatsApp has certain, not limitations, but certain concerns. And for that reason, for example, large German companies, it's a tire manufacturer in Germany, just got rid of WhatsApp in the company. So they said it's forbidden to use WhatsApp on company phones.
And that's
a strong statement, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mostly not blessed. So none of companies come to mind have blessed WhatsApp. It's just become a thing.
Yeah.
The problem with it is that it's tied to your mobile number, and things like GDPR and ISO are a big problem. So we hear stories all the time, people leaving businesses and not being taken out of the WhatsApp group. So they're now accessing privileged information, and they shouldn't be. There's no central admin overhead to manage WhatsApp, and that's the crux of the problem. And the other problem is discoverability. If you get a GDPR or an information access request, how do you get into WhatsApp to get the information out? So if people are using it for business use, there is a genuine InfoSec kind of GDPR security risk there around the data being accessed by people that shouldn't, and discoverability of the data.
And also data resilience. You don't know where the data is stored in
no,
WhatsApp.
No, because there's no central storage on WhatsApp. So in theory, that's good. But actually what happens is people back up their chats to their personal iCloud or their personal Google. So now Google has a copy of the data, Apple has a copy of the data, and if you have customer contracts that say you look after their data, you haven't said to them that Google and that Amazon have a copy and it's in personal consumer storage.
So in your company, do you try to use Teams fully without WhatsApp?
Yeah,
how does it work?
Absolutely. So we're a Microsoft collaboration partner. So it was Skype and now it's Teams, and we do try and do that, and it's fairly heavily enforced because we do managed services and we do consulting. So we have to sign up to agreements with our customers about how we look after their data. So because it's an agreement with an external party, you have to take quite seriously how you manage data.
Absolutely. So what's your what do you think? Where's the advantages of WhatsApp and Teams? So when you're like, for example, what we in my team we try to communicate, especially during conferences like Ignite. We create a channel where all the Ignite data, pictures, everything is stored. Yeah. The awesome thing is with the pictures, for example, the Teams client is much better than WhatsApp, because in Teams you can upload a real picture. In WhatsApp it's automatically compressed, so you never get the original one. Yeah. However, well, you know how the architecture of Teams is. Yeah. The picture is stored in a list and it's not stored in OneDrive. So getting the pictures out is a different story, because right-click, save as, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, the big thing is people that aren't part of your tenant. So WhatsApp, because it's tied to phone numbers, like say you've got a marketing contractor working with you at Ignite, or say you're working with two companies, it's so easy to have a single WhatsApp group, whereas with Teams you have to have either guest access or give duplicate identities. I think that's an area we'll see improvements in Teams, is how do you bring disparate tenants into a seamless conversation more easily.
But isn't there like the free Teams client where you can just apply with your phone number? Isn't that something? I never tried it.
There's stuff coming. So Kaizala at the moment is phone number identity.
Oh my God.
We've used that. So,
Kaizala.
Yeah. So
another area.
Exactly. And Kaizala is kind of like an enterprise WhatsApp. I mean, they wouldn't think kindly about that, but it's the same type of features but a superset.
Yeah.
And what Microsoft publicly said is that Kaizala and Teams are going to merge into one product. So you would anticipate that story about phone number based identity, first line workers, contractors, that story will come closer and closer together.
Yeah.
But for me, the bottom line is it's about data security in your customers. So
Absolutely.
even if WhatsApp is easier, ultimately you should be using the platform that's blessed and secure and corporately compliant. And that's Teams, even if it means tenant switching.
Yeah, I agree. And well, it's a big discussion.
It is, and it won't go away anytime soon. I think we'll see, particularly in Europe, where the EU, and we take data security and privacy pretty seriously.
Yeah.
I think we'll see some issues around not just WhatsApp, but any consumer product being used in the enterprise, and I think that will shift people's minds further. Once a few fines get doled out, a few data leaks happen, that brings it up everybody's agenda.
Yeah, but how would you what would you tell your users how to take this?
Yeah.
Should they be disallowed to use WhatsApp at all? Or is it more like educational perspective where you say, you know what, any company related information, please use Teams as the client, because there we are in control of the data, we know where it is, we know it's stored in the country that we define, and use WhatsApp for your friends.
Yeah, I think that's
Not
the clear.
customers.
I think trying to explain it any more intricately than that is confusing. I think that's a
Yeah.
simple way to put it. If it's work, it's on Teams because that's controlled, secure, discoverable. If it's your personal life, absolutely, Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp and whatever you want to use is great. But if you stay on Teams, you're within the boundaries of our compliance.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be an interesting discussion, and we see, well, there's more than 100 million Teams client users active, correct?
Yeah, and that's just the beginning. There's
Yeah.
180 million, I think, Office 365. So
Yeah.
we're only at the start of the curve of Teams adoption on the grand scale of things, I think.
Yeah, and the free version probably brings it much more to the audience, so we have to do more education. out there.
Yeah, there'll always be
Get
more.
the kids on.
Yeah, and I think a big part of the education is giving users access to this stuff and not too tightly controlling it. WhatsApp, they like WhatsApp and they like Dropbox because they can do whatever they want whenever they want.
Correct.
If you lock Teams down
Easy.
so hard that they can't get their job done, then they naturally gravitate to consumer products. So actually,
Yeah.
it's an education both for the users and for IT. Like you can't
Absolutely.
it's 7 days to create a team and this is the policy and you have to tick all these boxes, because they'll just go and find the easy route to get their job done.
I totally agree. And you shouldn't restrict it too hard, because otherwise they find ways around it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because if you let's say if you just say WhatsApp is not allowed to be used, then they use something else.
Yeah.
Maybe not Teams. I hope they use Teams. But yeah, my experience, it's pretty good. Yeah, but there's still a way to go down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you compare it to the Skype for Business mobile client, Teams is leaps and bounds ahead.
Yeah.
Like, certainly, we're in London today. Like using Teams on and off the tube when you're in and out
That's
of signal,
awesome.
it's great. Skype couldn't do that. The SIP stack in Skype doesn't deal well with disconnect, reconnect. Teams does great. So I think there's less and less argument from users that it's usability.
Yeah.
It's now often just habit and ease, kind of muscle memory. I go to WhatsApp. So the thing is, educate users about the risk. Like, do they want the company to get fined? Do they want data to be leaked? Like, do we want to lose big customer contracts?
Yeah.
You're making the choice that can influence that.
And the most benefit is, of course, that you have all data at one place in one app,
Yeah.
on your mobile phone. You open Teams, you can access your Team? How do you say team? Microsoft Teams team?
Yeah. The language is great. isn't
Teams,
it?
yeah, and so that's perfect. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. That's
No
been an
worries.
awesome discussion. So let's hope everybody uses Teams client in the future, apart from WhatsApp.
Yeah, definitely.